Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Late Night Take 3. We're talking about Disney Plus Day today. Before that, we've got some panelists here. We've got Brian. Brian, how's it going?
It's going good. Bill Rankin multiple times and my first time ever on late night.
And we've also got Chris. Chris, how's it going?
Going good. Love Disney on Disney Plus Tracking Day. That's my third time being on here, but I like being on here a lot.
Yep, but before we get into Disney Plus Day, because that's our main topic, we're going to go into the box office, and at the box office, Eternals came in on 27.5 million. Clifford got 16.4 million. Dune got 5.5 million. No Time to Die got 4.6 million. And Venom 2 still hanging in there at 4.0 million. Brian, any thoughts on the box office for this week?
Yep, I'm surprised to see how well Eternals is still doing based on the bad rap it's getting by critics. And I'm curious to see what the numbers and differences between the home viewing and the theater audience for Clifford, because I know it went to Paramount Plus.
And Chris, what are your thoughts on the box office?
Finally got Wednesday turnout time was fine. I kind of bad doing though. I'm gonna get back to 30 minutes of Clifford. I saw it was pretty bad from what I saw. The opening really put me off while finishing it. And yeah, I'm happy to see doing I'm happy to see like No Time to Die still hanging in there. There's a lot more like small releases with frequent top 10 like benches like tickets, but they're all linked out there. But that's okay. Me interested to see if the Eternals are keeping number one spot with their budget kicking out next week.
Yeah, and it, like for me, like Eternals coming in at number one, it doesn't surprise me. Like it's a big Marvel movie, people still going to see it. Like, and it's one of those ones. Like, well, yes, like the reviews from on the critics' side, at least, they haven't really been that thing, and it's one of those ones like everyone does read into Rotten Tomatoes wrong anyway. But it's still a big enough movie that people are still going to see it because, I mean, like, who's not going to go see an MCU movie at this stage? Everyone's going to see it as soon as they can. I mean, Clifford, for me, making that much money, but despite being on Paramount Plus, kind of says that most people just don't care that they can see it on a streaming service for free. They go and support the movie theaters and go and see it there.
I watched it on Paramount Plus. I did see it in theater.
I'm not saying everyone did. I'm just saying that it just shows that people still care about it enough to still care about the theater experience to keep supporting it. I mean, Venom 2 hanging in there at this point was that was start of October it came out, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're in the middle of November and people were still going to see it.
Is it like the second movie to cost like 200 million now? I was reading about that earlier.
It wouldn't surprise me. It doesn't come out for me. It doesn't come out until next week. So I'll finally get to see it. But I was sort of kind of vamping a little bit because I was looking at the worldwide box office for Eternals. They're almost at $300 million like worldwide, and that's so. I mean, they're doing like a lot of their money is coming in from overseas.
It's gonna drop next week.
I mean, it's one of those ones like it's one of those ones like for a group of Marvel characters that most people really don't know much about. It's doing more. It's doing really as I expected it to go. And Venom is at 450 million worldwide.
I think domestically that's at 200 million.
Yeah, they're a bit. It's about 202 domestically. But moving on to some non-Disney Plus news that we didn't get a lot, but we got a few things there. First one I'm going to bring up is Vin Diesel has put out a tweet to The Rock saying he has to show up for Fast 10 for the final ride. Chris, do we think the Rock is going to turn up in Fast and the Furious 10?
It depends if he really is there for the money or whether he just keeps with Ben Diesel feud going. Like, I think one of the biggest flaws I had with Fast 9 is felt not a lot of fun, and I think taking out Jason and Block kind of took away what was fun about the other film I enjoyed, like the hero and the really back and forth. We're missing Fast 9. I would like to see The Rock come back along with Jason Statham, so we could get a continuation. We can get arbitrage, but it's, the combination of both storylines where they're going. But yeah, I mean, if Ben Diesel, I think he should have done it earlier, but it good time with his apology. Like, it felt weird. Like, what is intention now, despite all of the back and forth hatred that been going on for the past couple months? Like, and I thought they were doing 11. I guess they finally, like, we got to make 10 fast maybe. Not 11 for what you can get.
Brian, do we think Vin Diesel? Do we think The Rock is going to tune up for Fast 10?
I hope he does. He made Fast and Furious reinvent itself, and also curious if they're doing if they're moving to he's going to stick to a Hobbs and Shaw type series with Jason Statham, or if both of them will be back for Fast 10.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not we get a Hobbs and Shaw 2, and if we do, and who knows when it's going to happen, because The Rock is busy as fuck. I mean, he's going to have to find. But yeah, I mean, look, from the way I see it, is there's no reason that like Vin Diesel could have just said nothing, and no one will be none the wiser that The Rock will show up. But now that the Vin Diesel put it out there, makes me think that The Rock is definitely going to be in this movie, because I mean, I don't know when. I think they plan on starting filming next year. I'm not too sure of when they're planning, but I dare say that like if The Rock is going to be in Fast and Furious 10, he'll know if he's going to be in it by now. And honestly, it's it's going to be the last movie. So they're going to try and get as many people to come back for even for small roles, because I mean, let's face it, I don't see any reason why some of them will be back for a big role unless they're really needed.
I'm going to be surprised also because being last round, they want to tie up the loose end of Hawk and Shaw with that cliffhanger to the place behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other bit of news that dropped this week, it was announced that Leonardo Dicaprio is playing some cult leader called Jim Jones, who I'm not gonna lie, I've known nothing about this guy. But Leo's play in this movie is probably going to be good. Brian, do you know anything about this Jim Jones?
Never heard of Jim Jones. Never heard of this type of guy. But heck, it's Leo. He's going to pull off a great performance.
Chris, have you ever heard of this Jim Jones, and what are your thoughts about Leo playing him?
I mean, I don't know who Jim Jones is, but I love Leo. Is it kind of similar to like villain type role? Something interesting, I would love it. I like to keep Dicaprio go outside what he usually do more interesting stuff. I bet to go back to do another scene like Django where he stopped playing outside his character type we usually do.
Yeah. But with that, we're going to move on to the main topic, which this is basically a whole news episode, really, because it's what it is. But throughout, but yeah. So basically, for those that don't know, Disney Plus Day was to celebrate the launch of Disney Plus in the States, because it was 1 year on the 12th anyway.
Yeah, the second year of it, I believe.
In
Oh, yeah,
2019.
that's right. It was the second year. The pandemic screwed up my timing. um, but yeah, so basically, they dropped a whole bunch of stuff. We got Shang-Chi Jungle Cruise on there, which we knew they're going to get eventually anyway. We got a few documentaries. The first 5 episodes of Jeff Goldblum season 2. Enchanted finally dropped.
Finally.
About time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always going to be a matter of time before it dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no.
After finally having a date night with my girlfriend who never seen it before.
But yeah, we also got Home Sweet Home Alone, which has a few good moments in it. It's ultimately not good, but I like what they tried to do and failed with trying to put it more on the robbers side of things than the kid for a change. But with that being said, the first thing that dropped on Twitter is they dropped the first teaser for the new Ice Age movie, Ice Age: The Adventures of Buck Wild. Brian, what do you think of this teaser?
It was okay as a teaser. I'm glad we got Buck back. I mean, Buck was one of the best characters in Ice Age outside of Scrat, and I'm curious to see what's happening with this film, what the main story is going to be about. Always saw with the teaser of crashing to the other world, and I'm hoping we get Scrat back for this film.
Chris, what were your thoughts on the teaser for the new Ice
Yeah.
Age?
And someone who I remember watching our things, I remember seeing all 3 in theater. I think I saw 4 on DVD. I just skipped. I'm thinking okay. I think from what I understand, kind of retconning a little bit number 5 because I remember Buck from Bits and Pieces saying he got out of that place. So kind of a little retcon. Is any of the voice cast coming back besides Simon Pegg and Josh Peck? Like I've been trying to look that up.
Yeah, no, they are like some like and we'll get because straight after they showed this teaser, they did show Simon Pegg sort of confirm he was back. And look, I think all the voice cast is coming back. I mean, I don't think there's any reason why they wouldn't.
I hope, like,
and
really need
like,
some work.
I mean, from what I understand is this is focusing mostly on Buck Wild, so I don't know how much screen time like Manny, Sid, Scrat, and that will have in this movie.
Did they take place after 5, or does it take place before 5? I kind of retconning.
Not really sure the chronological order of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think once we'll probably understand the place of where this fits in the series.
Because Buck escape his place at 5, really. Is it retconning on it?
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's going to be retcon. I mean, this is one that just from the teaser, there's not much to sort of speculate on this. But with that being said, moving on, we also got a teaser for Baymax, and this is like of the Baymax series that's coming out. Chris, what are your thoughts on the Baymax series?
One trailer we got a couple more. This one my favorite. The coffee thing made me laugh this so freaking much watching Baymax make coffee and that they get slow and watching the something in the action is just so I'm looking forward to this series because I love Baymax as a character. I love big characters. Like I think Baymax used right could be one of the funny shows that they got. Hopefully they don't overuse it into my I love the voice, I love the cast. I hope they use some of the other characters more doses. And like that's very right. But Baymax. Like one best Disney character created the past couple years.
Agreed.
Yeah. Brian, what are your thoughts on the teaser for Baymax?
I quite enjoyed it. As Chris, I agree with Chris about the coffee scene. That made me laugh out loud. I wonder with regards to the other characters in the show, I know we saw the ad make an appearance in the trailer, so I wonder if we're going to get Hero make an appearance for one episode, or Wasabi make an appearance.
And we see the mom briefly in the trailer, so I guess it's
Yeah.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we will get. I mean, I think for the purposes of this series, it's going to be mostly Baymax. So I do think, like, I wouldn't be surprised, like, each episode, like, a different member of Big Hero 6 sort of comes up, going, and gets Baymax to go on this journey, like, they help out Baymax with whatever he's up to, but yeah, and I kind of read all over the place at the start here, but yeah, mostly Twitter things that we got, was mostly the select members of the cast saying something about something. So a lot of these we didn't really get much new information from, but they just sort of confirmed. Yeah, just remember that this is happening. It's coming next year. But yeah, so the first thing that we got is we got Zach Braff and Gabrielle Union talking about the reboot of Cheaper by the Dozen. There wasn't really anything new they said about it, but they just sort of said it's coming about. I think they said it's coming March 2022. So, Chris, what are your thoughts about this Cheaper by the Dozen reboot that's coming?
I am nervous because, like, Disney so far would take a pop copy and a hit and miss for me. Like, I like the original. I like Disney Monster Keeper, but it does a lot. I think sequel is a good sequel of mine. A couple good last. I think, and Jack Braff, like, I love Scope to death. I'm not the biggest fan of Jack Braff outside of Scope on maybe Thomas Stage. But I get, and I like every, they give it a chance. And I prefer, because I kind of sick and tired of Justin remake after remake at this point, especially from Disney as of lately. And if it's anything like the Home Alone scene, I am staying far away from it.
And Brian, what are your thoughts about Cheap by a Dozen reboot?
For me, it's okay. I more prefer the original with Steve Martin and Bonnie Hunt. That's what I enjoy more. So I'm curious what they're going to do with this reboot. If it's going to be like a whole new thing with smartphones and such, or it's going to be like classic like sort of same path they did for the 2003 film.
Yeah, and I'll have to double check, but I actually think the one that Steve Martin was, I think that was a
2003.
Yeah.
because there was because I mean, the Steve Martin one definitely wasn't the original one. There was, I'm pretty sure there was one in the 1950s
Yeah.
as well.
It was
What was the ball?
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean,
the new one. Like,
I mean, yeah. This is one that, like, and this is going to be my issue for a lot of these announcements. I wish they'd gave us some kind of information about it, because there's a lot of these that was like, yeah, this is coming. It's been announced before, but we're just letting you know we're filming it. It's coming. And yeah,
I was hoping for like a whole full cast reveal.
Yeah, but maybe the kids are really doing any big name like they did with the 2003 for some of the kids. Like,
yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones because, I mean, even DC Fandom did the same thing. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happened at DC Fandom. Like, there's a few slight reveals that happened, but most of it was stuff that we'd already knew was in the works, and they just sort of said, yes, don't forget about this, it's coming. But anyway, moving on, they also they had a video from Patrick Dempsey and Amy Adams announcing that Disenchanted 2 is coming in 2022. And I mean, their role was more to let people know that Enchanted was finally on Disney Plus as well. But Brian, what is your thoughts about the sequel Disenchanted coming next year?
I'm actually excited for this film. I love the first Enchanted, very underrated film, and I'm glad it's coming back to it and also coming to Disney Plus. And I was hoping they would announce Timothy Spall will come back for this film, but
Yeah,
hoping
but
they announce him later on.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the main cast will be like my. I think most of the main cast will come back. I mean, at this stage, I don't think there's a reason for them not to. Unless, of course, something drastic happens to them, which I'm not even going to suggest that into the ether because I don't want that to happen. But Chris, what are your thoughts about Disenchanted coming in 2022?
I am excited for it. I love the fiction character so much.
Same.
I'm having a movie night with my girlfriend sometime this week because she never seen it before. That's the first one. And it's lots of fun. I love to see Amy Adams coming back. I'm not like one of those Twitter people that's trying to get free Patrick Dempsey for Disney Plus thing going on. It's different, but I love the cast. I like seeing my Willow coming to this one. She did be in touch with I don't love seeing the University Chapter more, and I hope they give Regina Menzel bigger role than what she was given in the first one. Because she got a talented voice. Let her sing with Amy Adams, Let her sing with Amy Adams.
Yeah, I mean, and especially for this, I kind of wish that because I don't. It was a while back when they announced their actual cast, but I'm pretty sure I remember it was definitely this year though. I kind of wish it just saved that announcement and just announced made Disney Plus say the day that they announced the cast for this. But that's just me. But next up we had Jeff Kinney, who did the Diary of the Wimpy Kids books, are now kind of revealing the new poster for the animated Diary of the Wimpy Kid movie. But then they also announced that next year you're going to get Roderick Rules. Chris, what are your thoughts about this Diary of a Wimpy Kid animated movie, and what do you thought about the sequel? We're getting the sequel next year.
So I live in a house where my sister grew up with the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I saw the first one in theater for her. I probably did not like the first one. I actually like Robert Will, the live action one, pretty well, and the third one I hated first. I think it's fine and not my demographic. Like, if anything, I hope they actually make it more likable. The animated movie than live action version was. I had a lot of issues with some the jokes they added into the live action one. But and that wasn't more like that. Anything like the live action one, I hope it got likable. I liked about it. The relationship in the live action one a lot. It hit a miss. I intended to see the voice cast and like it did seem to be either hit or miss. I'm not the biggest Diary of a Kid fan. I've seen some of it not guilty because of other some of the best kid movie ever made.
Brian, what are your thoughts about that Diary of the Wimpy Kid poster and the fact we're getting a sequel next year?
I mean, like, we already got a trailer like a few months ago, so all the while we need a new poster now. And also, that's the sequel this early compared to how the film is going to do on Disney Plus first. And also, the look of it looks exactly like it does the novel. The live action I enjoyed, but I'm curious to see how the anime will be.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason they want to do it anime was so they can get the look of the novel on screen. So I think that's why they're doing it. The movie.
I wish they made a TV show more than the movie because it mostly
Well,
was to me.
I mean, it's. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think it will work well as a movie. Personally, I don't think it's one that needs to be a TV series.
The
I
film
just
works
don't
better
know.
as own.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like, especially with this, like, I watched the first Diary of the Wimpy Kid, the live action one, last week for the first time, just in preparation for Rankin yesterday. It's fine. It's, I mean, I'm not someone who's familiar with these books in the first place, but it's one of those ones that I don't know why the animated one has to happen, because it's just basically going to be a animated retelling of the same story that was in that live action movie. Because I don't know, like as I said, I don't know much about these books. I don't know if anything was different, but I don't. And the fact that we're getting the sequel next year means that they either started production on it straight away, or they're going to be rushing it. And
It can't be as bad as the last one was, but
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those ones with the Anime Diary Kid being a Disney Plus exclusive, because I don't think it's going to theaters. I think this is one of those ones that
Go
you can
straight to
get
Disney
away.
Plus.
You can get away with doing the sequel straight away, because it's one of those ones like people are going to watch it on Disney Plus. I mean, for sure. I mean, it's not like it's going to go unwatched.
and plus,
But
did you get like children active for voices? Like you don't, get older and one into
Yeah.
that issue with what the original movie did going into.
yeah. But with that being said, the next thing that was announced is that the Predator prequel has a title. It's called Prey, and it's dropping in 2022. Chris, what are your thoughts about this Predator prequel that's happening?
Listen, I have never with Disney when it comes to R-rated stuff like Predator, like other things that they now on things to find for. I think Predator is. Go back and forth between really good movie and some really shitty one about the last one was pretty bad, especially coming from Shane Black. It's just like, I am nervous. I think the idea of what they're doing with Teddy and people is an interesting idea to see it from that type of perspective. Interests me. It does Disney handling, I'm nervous about if they're trying to make it PG-13. Or if they go full on, like the way Predator should be.
Brian, what are your thoughts on a Predator prequel?
Oh, think of Frozen. Am I coming clear?
You're back now. I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, for me, I'm curious of they're going to get cast for this film for New Predator, and I might be wrong on this, but I think they say it's good for stars nationally, like outside of the U.S.
Yeah, well, it's going to be it's Hulu. It's going to be for Hulu or Star.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically a Hulu thing, but for us outside of America, then it's Star. Is the Hulu equivalent for us? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to say about this. And I mean, like as I said, this is going to be the theme for a lot of the things that they sort of said, because a lot of these are stuff we knew, or in the case of the next thing I'm going to talk about, something that just came out of left field. They announced that we are getting a Spider Chronicles series, and they did show some sort of pictures. I don't know if they're pictures from the books or if it's and no, that is
No, that's Cars.
yeah. I know.
To that.
I'm not skipping Cars. I mean, we don't have much to talk about it, but we're not skipping it because we're not getting it. But Brian, what are your thoughts on the Spider Chronicles series?
I'm curious. I thought this was like a Paramount Pictures property. I'm surprised going straight to Disney Plus. I've never seen the film a few years ago, which I quite enjoyed, and I'm curious to see who they're going to cast for the show, and any voices will be for the series as well.
And Chris, what are your thoughts about Disney doing a Spider Chronicles
I didn't even knew they actually owned it until they announced it to the Plus Day. I mean, I think the first movie is fine for it. Was a fun movie. I've been curious to find out more about it than Pretty Captain, what they would been hyping up for a while about. It depends who they get and who the director is for this review show. It's just like, I'm not a big Spider-Man comic book fan of Land for a couple of things that they don't have to want.
Yeah, but yeah, I just quickly looked it up, and like you're right. The movie was Paramount, specifically Nickelodeon movies.
Yeah.
So this was, as I said, this came out of left field because I think most people know. So it's going to be interesting to see what Disney can do with Spider Chronicles. But I mean, clearly it was a case that Paramount weren't doing anything with it anymore because the movie came out in 2008. So maybe the rights for Spider Chronicles lapsed on their end. So Disney swooped in and picked it up. I don't know, but that was a surprise. And I mean, those pictures look good. I don't know if they're pictures from the actual page of the book or if they're going to be what the creatures are going to look like in the series. But moving on, we had a video with John Mulaney and Andy Samberg sort of confirming that that Chippendale Rescue Rangers is happening. And they're claiming that it's not a reboot, it's a comeback. But Chris, what are your thoughts about Chippendale Rescue Rangers?
Now we're talking about my childhood right here. I love Chippendale growing up as a kid. I watched that along to see when it to be on. I like only any type of champion and try to do what they get for everybody else. Like Gadget and Mortimer Mouse and everything characters that I remember from the animated show. I can't wait for this. I think it's going to be really fun. And I have to see Chippendale back on Disney. It's been a long time since we just did anything that not Kingdom Hearts. Breaking out Clubhouse stuff.
Brian, what are your thoughts about Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie?
This looks pretty good. It'll be interesting to see if it's gonna be like what other cast members we're gonna get for the towards the characters for the series. And also I'm glad that it's gonna be like coming back instead of a reboot of it.
Yeah. So I remembered this being announced.
The shareholder last year, I believe.
Yes, this was officially announced last year, and I just had. And I mean, according to Wikipedia, I don't know how accurate the synopsis is. The synopsis basically says on Wikipedia, years after the Rescue Rangers TV series has ended, Chippendale must re-team to save a friend from video piracy. I really hope there's not the plot of the movie because that just sounds boring.
That sounds dumb.
Hope it's not Rocky Bullwinkle.
I hope they bring back all the other characters too, like Gadget and Mortimer Mouse. Like,
but yeah,
I forget what everything is.
but yeah, the things that like the other on the Wikipedia page they've announced that so Corey Burton is going to be in there and he voiced Dale Zipper, Mole Snout, and a few other people, so he's coming back. As well as and Seth Rogen's going to have a cameo in there as well.
Of course.
You might be the other one. I'm trying to remember the name of the character.
Yeah, I mean that's the stuff I remember that was announced at the shareholders meeting. I don't know how much you care about this, but there's going to be a movie called Better Nate Than Ever. The only cast member that I know about that they announced in this movie is Lisa Kudrow. A lot of the other people don't know from anything else. That's all we got. But Brian, based on that title and that Lisa Kudrow's in it, anything you want to say about Better Nate Than Ever?
I was surprised they didn't get Nate Corddry to star in this because Better Nate Than Ever might as well have Nate Corddry in it.
And Chris, any thoughts about Better Nate Than Ever?
When you have the original Fiona and original, I believe that's that well from Wicked, Norbert Leopard. You have me there. I love Norbert Leopard. Anybody watch Bloodline, he was one the Bloodline. He been a match and theater thing. But he's a phenomenal body actor. I like the idea of it. It kind of using a lot of the image of Willow to musical and Broadway from came from it. And
Yeah.
actually interesting plot. I'm interested, you have me with Norbert Leopard and the girl who bring that down from Wicked. I saw them both in Wicked, so yeah, you have me there. And anything like that appealed to me as a Broadway fan and like, coming age film when it talked about it one time.
But yeah, yeah. For me, I mean, once I find out more about this movie and see a trailer, I might be interested in it. But there's really not much to talk about there. Another thing that there really isn't much to talk about is we got a shot of Hocus Pocus 2 and the announcement that it's coming next year. I mean, there's not much to talk about there, so I'm not going to sort of go to use.
I mean, we got most of the cast revealed like on Halloween, so
yeah. But then they already did they've already revealed at least some or all of the cast.
I wanted to people I did not want a Hocus Pocus too, but I watched it when it came out this year. I'm not excited for it.
But another one, they announced that that Disney's Pinocchio is coming in 2022, and I don't know. I know some of this cast was announced, but I don't think all of them was. So I'll run down the names. So Tom Hanks, Cynthia Erivo, Luke Evans, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Benjamin Ainsworth, Keegan-Michael and Lorraine Bracco are all announced for this movie. I know there is a lot of confusion because there's a lot of people going, what about Ewan McGregor? We know Ewan McGregor is in the movie. He is not in Disney's Pinocchio. Ewan McGregor is in the Pinocchio that Guillermo del Toro is directing, which is not this one. Chris, what are your thoughts about the cast for Pinocchio that's coming next year?
I find it interesting they announced it, but nothing about a lot of the other live action remake that they've been doing
Yep.
announcement, like Lilo Stick and a few others. But I love the cast. I love it. Luke Evans. I love Tommy. You know how much I love Cynthia Erivo. I've been excited for, like I said last week, with they announced it. He's gonna be a good booth there. I hope they use their thing right to the maximum with it. Justin Living, and Jimmy Cricket. I wanted to people like him a lot. I joke that some people are after him. But I interested. If they take it in an interesting route like they did with Prequel a few others, I'd be more happy. I don't want to see shot by shot remake. The animated one, but put into live action like a bunch of them been lately.
Brian, what are your thoughts about the cast for Pinocchio?
I mean, like, I'm interested to see this film. I wonder if this film is going to follow from the animated film or from the dark story, the dark fairy tale. And this cast was pretty good. I know we saw some image from the shareholder meeting last year. I'm curious why we get more pictures for this film.
But yeah, I mean, this cast looks good. Like Tom Hanks playing Geppetto, I'm all for that.
Perfect casting.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. But yeah, shall we find?
They don't have anybody from Tromboli or Dr. J.
Was that so?
Tromboli, no, but they never had Tromboli. No.
Well, that's what the animated film saw, though. What's happening with Stromboli for this film?
Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of fact that they had the Coachman be the villain more than Tromboli.
Yeah, I think Luke Evans is playing the villain.
The Coachman, I believe.
Yeah. So I guess they cutting out only that plot aspect then.
I'm just because I've yeah. So apparently the Del Toro Pinocchio is also scheduled to be released next year. So
Now, I probably don't see
and
a trailer for that in front of Nightmare Alley probably by the end of the year.
yeah, so there's and the Del Toro's Pinocchio's got Ewan McGregor, Tilda Swinton, and a bunch of other names that I forgot to. But anyway, next up, I'm just going to lump all the National Geographic stuff together. We got trailers for Limitless with Chris Hemsworth, Welcome to Earth, which is the Will Smith series, and then America the Beautiful, which is a nature thing. But Brian, what are your thoughts on the trailers for Limitless, Welcome to Earth, and America the Beautiful?
Looks pretty good. Not really a big fan of the National Geographic stuff. The only one I'm most interested in is the Will Smith series.
Chris, what are your thoughts about all the Nat Geo stuff?
National Geographic I like. I don't really go into them much besides it's all about one of my favorite documentaries last couple of years. But I am interested, nice to see Will Smith and do stuff other than movies, like do documentary like series about real life and interesting things and interesting to watch them. Like, it did excite me about the bunch of the other announcements, but hey, anything to surprise me.
But yeah, I mean, for me, like when it comes to the National Geographic stuff, like I don't really check them out much. I know I watched the first series of Jeff Goldblum show, but I've got to get it. Still good. Haven't started watching the second series yet, but I mean, Limitless looks interesting. And I mean, I'll probably check out that and Welcome to Earth. I don't know too much about. I'm not really interested in American Beautiful, but I mean, it's a National Geographic stuff that but it's not. It's got great cinematography. I'll give it that. But the next trailer that we got was a trailer for a movie called Sneakerella, which is basically Cinderella if Cinderella was running a sneaker empire. Chris, what are your thoughts about this trailer for Sneakerella?
I am tired of the Cinderella stuff. Like, it's just like, it's interesting concept, but after the whole freaking Amazon Prime movie that's coming out this year, I'm tired of them trying to do a different day with Cinderella. I think it's been done to death now with Cinderella. And I mean, it's good. It's just like, the trailer doesn't excite me just because it's never been out after the last Cinderella movie that came out with pretty bad. So I'm on this. Interesting idea, just like, if once I would watch it, I had no desire with Cinderella after the last one.
Brian, what are your thoughts on the trailer for Sneakerella?
Too many Cinderellas. Why would you need another one now? I mean, like, it's okay. I'll check it out. Check it out anyways, but it's okay.
I mean, look, this is one of those ones that I mean, I'll probably check it out. It looks interesting. I mean, this is one of those cases where I actually don't mind the fact they're doing another Cinderella type movie because it's definitely a twist on Cinderella that we've never seen before. So it's definitely an interesting concept that they're doing for this one.
I mean, he tried to do the same with the new one, but keeping the same Cinderella story, but making it like he does it. Want to be with the prince, was it?
I mean, the new one just tried to shoehorn modern music in here. This is so. I mean, but I mean, it is what it is. But we got a trailer for the sequel series to the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. I think is what the subtitle is. Brian, were you a fan of the Proud Family, and what do you think about the sequel series?
I love the Proud Family. One of my favorite shows growing up. I'm glad we're getting a another series of it, and I'm glad we're getting some of the voice cast from the previous series back here. And the animation looks pretty good. An upgrade from the original to this one, and I can't wait to check this out.
Chris, were you a family of Proud Family, and what do you think of the sequel series?
So I talked with this with my friend the other day when the news came out. We talked about the show. I love the original Proud Family. I love the character. I love the animation. I love the humor. I love Shalom. I love that character death. Like, I never forget. I don't love the animation in the trailer. Like, with the went back to the original animation. I really love the nice style of the animation for the original were very nice and very real and very likable. That made it best. The animation did throw me off at times. The humor is funny. Like, a lot of it was too long that made me laugh hard out loud. Especially when she come in like a Hulk and he talked about the. It just, I never forget. I haven't been a fan of a long time with Disney trying to bring back shows. I think I liked it up to Reboot at that pretty much it. Did not like the Reboot stuff. A bunch of the other stuff I really wanted to fan of. Is it good? Is it good? It's good. Is it like the DuckTales? I'd be happy. I'm ready into the first episode, make full jump. The trailer didn't wow me because of the animation style.
Yeah, for me, like I never grew up with Proud Family. I mean, so I don't know much about the show. That I was kind of hyped for the trailer. I'll probably check it out. But yeah, I'm not going to spend too long on this. They announced that there's going to be season 3 of High School Musical. I don't know why they wanted to continue that series.
I quite enjoy it.
I kind of enjoyed it too.
But I mean, from the way they worded their thing, like we've got chills, makes me think they're going to be tackling Grease songs. There's going to be a
I
few.
think it's
Grease songs.
Frozen.
No, it's Frozen because they love an open door on top of it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. There's that double-edged sword there because the way they started on the poster it says "Love is an open door" makes me think Frozen. I mean, there's a good chance they could both be there because the way they worded the thing, like we've got chills. I thought immediately from Greece. So either way, whichever way they want to go, it's going to be High School Musical.
I mean, I gotta admit it. I don't like the movie. I actually do like the show a lot. I watched some of it with my girlfriend and found the show pretty funny at the point. And the character way more likable than a lot of the characters in the movie. Like, I love Nina. I love Bucky. The humor's funny. The music character. She's a great character in the show. Like, I enjoyed it. I hope it's better than the ending of the second season. The ending of the second season sucks. And I wish they do reference some of what happened at the end of the second season. I tried to know summer camp idea thing.
But yeah, next we got a announcement of the cast of the Willow TV series. And we got so on this cast we got Dempsey Brick, I think is how it's pronounced. Amma Chadra Patel, Ali Bamba, Tony Revolori, Ruby Cruz, Erin Kellyman. I only know Tony Revolori from this cast. But yeah, I'm one of those ones that Willow's fine. And I'm glad they're doing a series of it. Like I'll probably check it out because the bunch of unknowns kind of gives me hope that it's going to be good. But Brian, what are your thoughts about the cast announcement for Willow?
I mean, the only one I know is Tony Revolori out of the whole cast. And I'm glad that we're getting Warwick Davis back for this series as well. I haven't seen it all the way. I may have to rewatch it before the series comes out.
Chris, what are your thoughts about the cast for Willow?
I'm trying to regularly and watching. I get to the original. I do have to watch eventually for trivia purposes. But I tried to watch the original then watch the TV show. Interesting concept, and I had nothing but good thing about the originals. So when I get down to it, especially with TMD, I will watch it.
But next up, we've got a series that everyone's just waiting to talk about. We've got Cars on the Road, and they showed us a couple of like concept images from the series, along with the announcement that Owen Wilson and Larry the Cable brought up. And Larry the Cable Guy are reprising the roles in the series. Brian, what are your thoughts about Cars on the Road?
Oh, great! Another Cars property. I mean, like this looks fine. I mean, like, what era is this gonna be in? The prehistoric time, the future, Mad Max era? I mean, like, this is
You can give them
I
ideas.
wonder what's gonna happen in the series.
Chris, what are your thoughts about Cars on the Road?
Listen, this franchise needs to die a slow painful death. This is a series that I do not like. I haven't rewatched the first one for Trivia Purposes today, and I hate every moment. The second one was the worst sequel I ever seen. Like, I'm done with the franchise. I haven't even bothered watching it yet, but I had to do watch eventually. To me, Paul Newman was the best thing about the series, and he died after the first one. Like, yeah, I kind of gave up with it, but he Larry the Cable Guy voice again after maybe ABF for a long reason.
But yeah, I mean, I'm also not a big fan of this franchise. But I mean, the fact that Larry and Owen are reprising the roles in this makes me glad that they're not doing what Disney have done it for a few straight to DVD products. It just
Replacing them.
just replace the roles.
That had be all the thing they could go back and do again. Like, they could have done Inside Out, they could have done Incredible thing. They went to back to cause, like, why?
I mean, I think it's one of those ones like I think all of them will eventually get series at some stage. But also in the Pixar thing that they did on Disney Plus, which they talked about the series Win or Lose, which is also coming out. Which, from what I understand, it's basically about the sports team, and each episode is going to focus on a different person, showing their reactions to what's going on. But Chris, what are your thoughts about this original series Win or Lose that's dropping next year?
This is one of those things I wish they had shown more than what they talk about. The Pixar thing was really not a quick video didn't really say much because it caused an happened, and it's just like it's not my interested in it. We got a trailer because I want to see more about this. And it kept on, like, besides mostly like all of the other stuff. I'm like, I really can't wait to see what they do next.
And actually, the Win or Lose series is coming 2023, not 2022, like was what I said. But yeah, I mean, I'll put a little bit here because the whole Pixar special on Disney Plus to me was as Chris said, it was a little bit disappointing to me too because I thought they would have done more. But it was essentially Pete Docter going through the studio, talking to a bunch of people, or having Larry the Cowboy call in.
You could have got like a thing, but no.
But Brian, what do you think of the whole Pixar special on Disney Plus?
It was kind of disappointing. I thought they'd give us more news about upcoming stuff, or maybe announce some new properties that maybe like a new film, or like maybe like a little trailer for Untitled Chapter or something.
But something from Lightyear, like show him speaking for the first time. We never hear his voice from the trailer.
Or the cast of it.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'm not. I don't know if Lightyear's coming out next year.
It is
or-
June.
June next year.
yeah. So I mean, I think it's because I think that, they're still doing investor days. I don't know if they're doing it public like last year. So maybe they are saving some stuff for Investors Day, which is why a lot of these announcements were lackluster.
And we got Enchanted to be catching next. We might get something with Enchanted coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, another franchise that really did not get much announcements happen is Star Wars. All we basically got from Star Wars was the sizzle wheel for the Kenobi series. Chris, what are your thoughts on the sizzle wheel for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series?
It looked good. It kind of got leaked the other day, the day before, so it was the same thing we saw. I didn't see the Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader thing. It was kind of retcon a little bit New Hope. I interested where it go. I mean, I can't wait for it. I love the director. He directed some of my favorite Mandalorian episodes. I can't wait for it. I really can't wait. I think Disney also dealing with the Fallout situation, where I think we did talk about last week with the Harry Dickens thing with Walton. And that news that came out, so they're trying to put out a positive thing with the Obi-Wan thing. I didn't talk about anything else, because who knows what's going on with all of that.
But Brian, what did you think of the sizzle wheel for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series?
It was okay. I was hoping to show like a full trailer for the for the series.
I mean, I think we're going to get a full trailer soon. I think this is just because it depends on what part of the year next year that we're getting it. Because
Celebration.
And beginning Dance of Mandalorian next year would be the question of beginning.
yeah, but we're getting Obi-Wan Kenobi and Mandalorian next year. I'm pretty sure that's a given. So I expect we'll probably be getting a trailer soon. I mean, depending if it's coming out really early in the year, I don't think we're getting it Celebration. But if anything, I think that if they do this whole Investor Day celebration that they did last year and make it a public event, then I think we'll get the trailer then.
Yeah, I think that maybe we get an announcement like that season 2. I think they were just didn't have anything announced yet.
Yeah, series announcements for next year.
Yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi is definitely coming out next year.
Yeah.
But another thing that they announced is that we are getting documentaries on the making of both Turning Red and Lightyear coming out next year as well. So they'll be coming out in conjunction with the movies.
Nothing much. We get nothing about Turning Red after that. I think that's
nothing.
Movie.
Yeah, I'll be that. I'm not gonna lie. That surprised me too that we got nothing about the movie side of things.
Which one come out first, Turning Red or Lightyear?
Turning Red, I think.
It's March, I
first
believe.
out. Yeah,
I
think
Lightyear. Get a second trailer for it.
I mean, in all honesty, I think everything that they announced are stuff that's going straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
That's probably why we did not get anything about the actual movies,
Yeah.
other than the documentaries.
It's like Marvel did so much, things announcing a bunch of.
So yeah, but we got a poster and reminding that Zootopia Plus is coming next year. And we also got a concept art for Tiana. Chris, what are your thoughts about Zootopia Plus and Tiana with those first looks?
I mean, I had loved seeing Zootopia 2 or like a TV show because I love Zootopia a lot. We watched it with my girlfriend. She never seen it. It's such an enjoyable movie. I am happy. Like, I've been a huge fan of Princess and the Frog. I have been a fan of the universe. I love John as a character. I love all the characters. think Princeton is one of the more underrated movies from Disney that not a lot of people talk about. Especially because it had one of the best Disney villains in the past couple years. Yeah, I can't wait for this. I can't wait to see what you do with you on it. It's an interesting concept they have for this show.
Brian, what are your thoughts about the fact we're getting Zootopia Plus next year, Tiana the year after?
I mean, I'm excited we're getting Tiana TV series. I mean, as Chris said, one of the most underrated Disney films of the 2000s. For Zootopia, I'm curious if they're bringing back all the characters from the original movie with the original voice cast, and for Zootopia Plus, I wonder what the story is about for it.
Well, from what I understand, is Zootopia Plus is going to be a short form series, so you're going to get each episode is going to probably be about 5 minutes. So I have no idea what's going to happen, like whether it's going to be like PSAs or stuff in the Zootopia world, or how it's going to work. I don't know. But the one thing that makes me really interested in this Tiana series is they said it's going to be a completely musical TV series, or not completely musical, but it's going to be a musical. It is going to be a musical series, and I think that kind of excites because I don't think anyone's done a true animated musical TV series before, so it should be really interesting. And then last but not least, we got a whole bunch. Yeah, but then we got a whole bunch of Marvel announcements. I mean, it wasn't really a bunch of, but basically we got an announcement that we are getting revisiting to the X-Men animated series with X-Men 97. We got the confirmation that we are getting a season 2 of What If and a season 2 of Loki. We got the title screen and some footage from Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel. And then we got the announcements of most of these series we kind of knew about because we knew that from the Investors Day we're getting a series all about Groot. The Secret Invasion we knew about, and Ironheart we knew about. What I don't think we knew about though is we're getting an animated series called Spider-Man Freshman Years. I don't know what that means or that. We're getting a TV series based on the character of Echo, which we are meeting in Hawkeye. We are getting a animated TV series on Marvel Zombies. And then we are getting a series called Agatha House of Harkness, all about Agatha. But Brian, what are your thoughts about any of these Marvel announcements?
For me, I love these announcements. For X-Men, I'm curious if they're bringing back some of the original voice cast for the original series, or if we're getting back the original theme song for it. I have Groot sounds interesting. See what Groot does in the series. If Rocket's gonna be with him or not, because they mostly worked well together. Marvel's What If I'm curious about. See what to do with Black Panther, since we won't get Chadwick Boseman no more for it. And I'm mostly excited for the Agatha show. Agatha's one of my favorite characters from WandaVision. I'm hoping we get the theme song is Agatha All Along type tune for the series.
I mean, I think it's going to depend on what that tone of that show that they want would be with it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the theme song is going to be a version of Agatha All Along, whether it's the that theme song made a little bit darker if they want to go a darker tone for the series. But Chris, what are your thoughts about the Marvel announcements?
Where to begin? This was some really good announcements that got me excited. I love the stuff we saw from Moon Knight, She-Hulk. I mean, I'm a huge She-Hulk fan. I can't wait for She-Hulk. The fall will look good. Spider-Man freshman year, is interesting. I
Yeah.
wanted to people still hope to this day they bring back Spectacular Spider-Man, but that would never happen. But I love Tom Holland. They getting back. I think interested to take it freshman year. Everything stayed out got me excited, but the new guy got me excited. As a 90 kid fan, the X-Men the animated series coming back. Like, I love the animated series growing up. Like, I jumped for joy when I saw that news wire, but I was really happy. And, and then you can bring back any classic Marvel show that not protect the Spider-Man. This is it. Like, yes, like, it's a great way to talk to X-Men fashion to Disney now. Yeah, I can't wait. And everything was good. I get 2022 to 2023 to be a exciting year for Marvel. Like, and Agatha, like, it's such a favorite take plate. And from WandaVision to after WandaVision would be my question now. Like,
But yeah, like when it comes to the Marvel announcements, like I'm hyped for these, like the footage that they showed of She-Hulk and Moon Knight, and even Ms. Marvel looked good. I mean, albeit it was a really short amount of moment, because I mean, and I think Marvel did their presentation right, because I think like Marvel sort of led up. Marvel didn't have any fluff in theirs. Like they sort of led up showing what had already happened in the past year.
I do want,
Marvel TV.
I do want to point out, I find it interesting that Hulk is hearing a perspective Hulk form the She-Hulk teaser. If anybody thinking she at all to put credit.
Well, it depends on sort of where
Yeah.
this series takes place. Because I don't know, we get it because it could just be as simple as maybe Bruce found a way to manage to go back into his normal form as so he could hide out in public without being mobbed by people wanting his autograph. I don't know. I mean, like there's and also spoilers if you haven't seen Shang-Chi, but yeah.
Open the night, I surprised you didn't show any Ethan Hawke, but I think they probably take him for the trailer. Like,
I mean, I think it's just one of those ones like they wanted to show some footage of. As far as I know, they're still working on editing it, so we're probably going to get a longer trailer. Depending on which of these series is going to be first out the gate next year, because we know Ms. Marvel's coming
Next year.
Yeah, well, I think Ms. Marvel is
For,
early next year. I think so. I
yeah.
think she's the first one out the gate. I don't know what the order of these series is.
You probably get one out at once Hawkeye and they probably do a little teaser or something.
Yeah, I mean, but once again, it's probably like we'll probably get an announcement of what the next series is. But that being said, after watching What If, one thing that I really hoped that we were going to get, we got a full series of Marvel Zombies because that was exciting. And what do you know? We're getting a full series of Marvel Zombies. And I think Disney was like looking at all the reactions. They was like, you know what? Let's do that. Let's give them what they want. Because I mean, once again, I think after WandaVision, I think everyone was like, "Let's get an Agatha series." But yeah, I mean,
they did it now because they said we can. So they said we can Falcon Winter Soldier season 2. We just touching the movie.
They didn't confirm a Falcon and the Winter Soldier 2. And it's one of those ones like with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't think we need a second one because the series was more about Sam wanting to
Yeah.
just get into his own becoming Captain America. And I think the movie Captain America 4 with Sam as Captain America is going to be a sequel that we to the series. Just like I think Agatha House of Harkness might end up being a pseudo sequel to
WandaVision.
WandaVision. And it's good, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to get like Scarlet Witch going to visit Agatha, for whatever reason to help, and it's going to be sort of that transition of Agatha becoming Scarlet Witch's mentor, like what she actually is in the comics. So it's
I mean,
a lot of these series is going to be interesting.
I
Was that
think
Chris?
Dickon might say that, she could pop up in Doctor Strange because now she's getting a show. More unlikely that Agatha would pop up in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
But yeah, with that being said, that's all the announcements. Like overall, I was kind of disappointed by this, but just for the fact that a lot of it was that they announced was stuff to be either new already or just that stuff that they're confirming with added footage or new concept art and that. But I think their goal was for this was letting people know what is coming to the service within the next year and a little bit. And I mean, I don't think we're getting all these Marvel shows next year. Don't get me wrong, some of these are going to be 2023. But that being said, I think it's just their way of showing. I'm going to cycle back a little bit. There's a lot of people speculating that Spider-Man freshman years is going to be Tom Holland. I don't think it is. I think it's going to be an all new series about the character of
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Because I think if Sony snaps up Tom Holland, then I don't know if he'll be able to be used, but
It's something not happen if Sony snaps back up Spider-Man.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. I mean, there's people confused about the fact that Disney can't use Spider-Man in movies, but they can do TV series. I think it's a different deal. I think when Sony got the rights to do the movies, I think that's all they asked for. Anything else that Disney wanted to do with Spider-Man, what they were allowed. Which is why they've been doing these Marvel Spider-Man series.
I now want to talk about that because I remember reading back when Attack of the Spider-Man Season 3 were canceled, that Disney bought the TV rights to Spider-Man. That's why they had the Ultimate Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
To Disney.
Well, I mean, Disney was the one that was doing Marvel Spider-Man as well.
Yeah, so that's why,
Well, that's the thing. Like Disney has always been doing the Spider-Man TV series because they did Ultimate Spider-Man.
And Marvel Spider-Man as well.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of those weird things, especially with the rights. Especially the other weird thing is with Marvel they can't do a solo project with the Hulk.
Universal.
Because Universal held up, but yet they can do. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that's why they chose to do She-Hulk. Because like, how are we going to get Hulk a series without having it called Hulk? Let's bring in She-Hulk. I like the character She-Hulk. I think she's great. And I don't think that's the sole reason they decided to do it. But I think it's funny. It's like they can't do anything solo, but they're going to try and find a way to get Mark Ruffalo's Hulk into as many things as they can, just so they can use him. But that being said, that brings us to the end. I may take next week off. I may do late night. I have no idea. At this point, late night's just something random in that at this stage. next year I'm probably try and get back to a more regular schedule for this. But Brian, we can find you online.
Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I was on Peggy's show this past Wednesday, jotting part twos of films. I'll be on Jordan's show tomorrow, talking about picking what's my favorite film, new favorite film of all time. I was on his show last Monday, debating the best fictional restaurants, and sometimes I do rank them whenever I'm reminded. So yeah.
Chris, we can find you online.
On my Facebook, YouTube, I post reviews every now and then. I post my thoughts into Boom. They try to get more reviews out on Facebook and Letterboxd. I've been using Letterboxd lately. And I've got a couple of matches coming up. You see me around. You can always find me on Twitter and stuff. You know, look at my trivia and take a list. You can try to go check it out. We definitely need more people. And you see a bunch of us on there. But yeah, you can find me, find me only had a complaint about pretty accident, but I hope it gets disappointing.
And you can find me as always on Tape 3. I was thinking movie Saturday. Next week is going to be top 12 biopics. You can find I host trivia on Full Metal, and I'll also be on Movie Hero Reboot tomorrow for Brian's favorite movies. But until next time, I shall see you all. Yeah. So and
Just give
I'm
me
gonna get
all
back-
the bacon and eggs you have.